Hey everybody, and welcome back to Season 3 of Dungeons, Drive-Ins, and Dice. This season will be titled A Wider World, GM'd by our friend Gabe Stringer. Look at that. Woo-hoo!
Hey everybody, it's Gabe Stringer, the voice of the narration and everyone who isn't a main character. Hi, welcome. Let's kick it off with some player introductions, and I will start with myself. We're going to do name, and we don't have characters yet, so we're going to do just a fun player fact. My name is Gabe Stringer. I'm going to be the Dungeon Master, and my fun player fact is I quit smoking 3 days ago, so I feel different. Take it away, anybody.
Hi, my name is Lawrence, and although I have an easy fact today because today is my birthday, I'm going to give you a second fact. My Dunkin' Donuts order is an iced coffee, medium, no sugar, half cream, French vanilla swirl. Thank you.
Is that what you got today? That's not what you got
That
today.
isn't what I got today.
Okay.
This was a special surprise.
You were running that down, and I started looking at my own drink and like, am I drinking the wrong drink?
No, you did not
like
steal
you're
my
drinking
drink.
warm beverages.
That's a third fact that you did not steal my drink.
Cool. Then off of that fact, I'll be number 3. My name is M. Well, my first fact was that I didn't steal Lawrence's coffee, and my second fact is that I am in the process of quitting smoking. I actually didn't even bring my Nick guy with me today, just to like get used to not having it on me. So I'm in the same boat.
My name is Grace Stringer. Are we all doing smoke-related facts? I haven't smoked in a while, so there's that.
Hell yeah,
I mean, I haven't smoked a cigarette in a minute. My second fact, not related to smoking, is that I think if I was cursed to turn into an animal based on my personality, it would be a raccoon. I relate to them, and I love them.
I think that would be too
And-
easy for a curse. That would sounds like they're giving you something you want.
Well, they don't know that.
The curse doesn't know.
Exactly. You gotta find that loophole.
I think the curse in that case is that you are an animal now. Not that
Yeah.
it's bad. You're a
But I got
shitty
hands.
animal now.
Hey,
One with hands.
No. In this
My-
case, you're not a raccoon because I know you want it too bad. So I'm gonna turn you into something
Oh.
silly like a jellyfish.
got it.
But on land.
My sub fact is also I've never played Dungeons and Dragons, so most of this episode will be going, what? You want me to do what?
No, you
What
play
is it?
Dungeon World. You're
But that used one. There are many dice on my table now. There are many.
Do
There are
not
6.
worry, we will be,
We'll just tell you which one to roll.
talking through that, but yes,
helped
indeed,
me-
it's going to be fun.
It helped me in the beginning to put each dice with its top number facing up, so that when Gabe asks for a D12, you know you grab the one with a 12 on it, and then you'll learn their shapes over time.
Hi, I'm Dante. I like to make coffee in the mornings, which is afternoons by the time I actually wake up. This is early for me. And I like to eat apples sometimes.
Sometimes.
Hell yeah.
Facts. I should
The
eat more
occasional
apples.
apple keeps the occasional doctor away.
You guys ever heard of Henry and David pairs? No, right?
The movie
Apparently-
star?
No, there's a
Henry David Pear?
there's a type of that's funny. There's a type of pear. It's like a holiday pear that people give out. It's like a holiday basket. It comes with 6 pairs. One of them is gold wrapped, and the internet widely claims that these are hands down the best pears. Full stop.
When
Just
you
like-
said gold wrapped, I got a little bit of a little Willy Wonka vibe.
it
I was
literally
like,
is a
"Ooh,
Willy Wonka
special
gold
pear."
wrapped pear. Yeah,
Is Timothy Chalamet going to hand deliver it to me?
if only.
Yeah, because I don't like pears, so.
I was just curious if anyone had heard of them because I like
No.
wanted to try
Pears,
one of
but
these
I've also never heard of this.
right.
I
But
don't really have
eat-
my finger to the
pears.
pulse of pear news.
Me neither.
Um,
Anyway,
But you know
that's
about
a
this.
third fun- That's a third fun fact, not including the coffee and the smoking, is I've never tried a pear. Well, Henry and David
True.
pear. I've had pears.
I've never smoked ever because my lungs cannot take it.
Good.
I love the connecting thread. This is fun.
Otherwise, I would,
Harry and David Pear's not a sponsor, but you can get a box of them for $45 on the internet. Harry and David.
Also, Big Tobacco, also not a sponsor.
Wait, 6 pairs is $40? Or are you making that up? Did you
No.
Google it?
$45 for 12 pairs, one of
12
which is
pairs.
wrapped in gold.
Only
They come in
one?
different sizes. I didn't look any harder than that because I'm trying to keep
Is
my
it
brain
edible
full of
gold?
D&D facts and
No,
not
it's
pair
D&D
facts right
time, not pairs facts.
Sorry,
Dang it.
I got distracted.
now. Google it yourself. You also have the internet.
Sassy today.
Dungeons, Dragons, and Dice is not necessarily for the faint of heart. Our adventures here can get a little rowdy. We use coarse language, and there is most definitely going to be a little bit of violence. These and other content warnings can be found in the episode descriptions.
So, welcome, one and all, to Dungeons and Dragons. And as we mentioned in our player facts, we do have one brand new player here in the space. So, I do feel like we do have to talk about the character sheet just a little bit, just to talk through some of the different things that your character is capable of. We're not going to do a lot of the math, or really any of the math. If we need to do math, we'll do it when we have to do it. This is mostly just to talk through your character sheet and what it means as far as role playing and narrative and like character prompts and things. So, at the top of, I'm looking at a character sheet, by the way. Here we are. At the top of the character sheet, we see the box that says class, background, race, alignment, name, experience points. The main things to look at: your race, your background, and your class. These are sort of your major qualifiers. They are the way that your character presents for the most part. Your race is sort of what you look like. Your background is sort of how you grew up, and your class is mostly where you draw your power from, but it also has narrative ramifications. So your character, Margery Ridgeback, is a race called a shifter. Do you want to talk about what that is for you, sister of mine?
When I picked it, it said that I could pick an animal. And so I picked a tiger because I was reading a book about this certain kind of tiger that was killing people in India a while back. And I was like, tigers are cool. So I picked a tiger.
What's different about you? Do you have sort of a cat nose? Like, do you have pointed ears sort of up front? Like, what is the
I've got the cat eyes, kind of like Witcher eyes. But I got the cat, like with the cat pupils, not normal pupils, the upsetting cat pupils that
The
Geralt
vertical slits.
Yeah, and they're very clearly not human colored. I think tiger's eyes are yellow or gold.
Witcher's
It
eyes
can
are
be any
yellow.
color you want. Yellow or gold it is. Depends on the color of the light.
Yes, how the light hits them in the trees.
The only other question I have about Margery is that shifters have personal names. Your name is Margery Ridgeback, but they also have what they call like wandering names. Like maybe your personal name is too personal to share with just like whoever. So you are like, they call me Shadow, or, they call me, Dirt Walker or something.
They call me Ruppity Puppety.
But you don't have to pick one if you don't want. If you just want to be Margery, that's also cool.
I want to do that.
That's your race. Your class, you picked the Urchin. Do you feel like the Urchin is sort of the defining trait of your character? Are you an Urchin or are you a cleric?
I think I've got deep at my roots. I've got urchin tendencies. Like I got thefty, grabby hands, and I'm good at slipping away and hiding in small places and like weaving in the crowds and disappearing. But I mean, cleric. But I think wasn't it also necromancy was my focus. Cleric, but
Like
also
a death cleric.
I thought it was funny because I work at a
Classic tiger.
crematorium.
A tiger would be a death cleric.
I think there are urchin tendencies that she can't shake just because she lived in the streets for so long that sometimes urchins got urch.
Urchins gotta urch.
I've got an urge to urge.
I have a lot of questions about Margery's flow from urchin to cleric. did that go? This is not questions you have to answer now. This is just like my brain as hearing this is like. So she started out as an urchin. When she became a cleric, did she become like a good cleric, like a normal religious cleric, or did she like devolve off of the like street path and into death cleric? Because cleric is typically like good, and like an urchin and a normal cleric just don't blend because your spells require you to be good. So I was just curious.
I actually wrote a backstory for that because I was nervous someone was going to ask me this. So she was raised by her uncle, but then the uncle is executed, Uncle Carmine. And he was executed for like presumed selling of poisons, but it was never proved. And so even Margie herself doesn't know if he actually was selling poisons on the DL or not. And so then at 11, she was on the streets where she befriends Laverne, who is a tough love bugbear pawn shop owner, who she brings her like stolen items for to get a good. It's on the thing. I told you. I wrote it. It's all in the thingy. That gives her a good deal for stolen things and kind of helps her out a little bit. And then she does have her ferret. But then I was searching around and I witnessed a lich bring a dead man back from the dead to do some task. I wasn't very specific in my backstory because I wasn't 100% sure how liches worked yet. But I'm just making this up. And so then she becomes
D&D, I'm just making this up. Oh, man.
I don't know if that's accurate at all, but I said it, so it happened.
Oh, it's accurate to your story.
It's my truth.
Okay. I have the answer to the question that I asked, and I, for this one, don't want an answer, but I am curious how a level 1 character witnessed a lich event, and 1 is still a level 1 character, and 2 is able to adventure full stop.
Isn't clinically insane?
Really
Right. I just a fun thing to think about for you.
It's the nerves of the tiger. It's the nerves of the tiger. I don't care about that sight.
Yeah, I think I've got a way to sort of weave this narratively, if you'll allow me.
Weave away, man.
Weave away.
Yeah, I think that what you witnessed in your lich encounter happened during your urchin days. You met a lich, or perhaps you met a necromancer who was just on the cusp of achieving lichhood. He was out doing necromancy things in the dead of the nights, reviving corpses and asking them questions, and sometimes taking their fingers, or whatever it is that necromancers do. They got to have their bits.
Necromancer's got a neck.
They most of the time in my memory, necromancers mostly wake up corpses to ask them how to solve the puzzle.
I think that because you were an urchin during this time, you were sort of more of a commoner rather than an adventurer. The necromancer decided that you were a fairly low risk pair of hands to take on. And much like your employment at the crematorium, you began a job that you were not wholly ready for or understanding of what it was going to entail. You saw many a thing and became different. And I read your backstory, wonderful backstory. You listed a minor deity, a deity of necromancy.
I didn't know if I was supposed to. I panicked and I just created a whole thing.
That is exactly what you need to do. You do those things, and then someone, usually the dungeon master, will know enough about the world to say, and this is how it looks. And this is how it looks. Your necromancer was devoted to this deity by the name of Velsharoon, who is another older, more powerful lich who achieved godhood at some point. It's a mystery, and he'll never tell you why or how. And so in the process of being sort of the second pair of hands for this necromancer come lich, did you have a name for him, by the way?
Zogmoth.
Honestly, I love Zogmoth. Good old Zogmoth.
Zogmoth.
Zogmoth is the lich that I peeped doing the thing, or the person about to become a leech.
Very
Lich.
much.
Yeah, he's your
what we do.
your
in the shadows type
necro-mentor.
relationship.
Yeah, he's my mentor, Zogmoth.
Yeah, he's your necromentor, and definitely most of your adolescence, it was a what we do in the shadows type situation, where you were seeing terrible things and not being super helpful and not being super appreciated. But you were devoted and you worked hard and you stole some stuff when you had to, or whatever
That's
it is
why
that
you're
urchins
still
do.
alive.
Mm-hmm. You never once dropped the wrong bottle at the wrong time.
Got those urchin hands. They don't drop
That's
stuff.
what happens to most of a lich's assistants. They just drop stuff and then
They
they
fuck up
evaporate.
once.
Oh man, their assistants keep evaporating. Don't know why. What's going on with that?
Yes. I know that you just dropped that beaker. That's totally okay. By the way, do you know my favorite word?
Power word kill. You don't have 100 health, do you? No?
Dorks.
How much health do you have?
How much health do you have left? 104? You're gonna have to hit yourself one more time with that. All right, cool. Die.
Flicks you on the forehead. Also,
Power word kill, for those of you that don't know, is a fun spell that requires no save. If you have under 100 health points left, you die. Which is us until we're very high level.
I have 10% of that right now. You can just power word K me.
And I think that sort of explains your clericness. You have worked hard enough that you have gained the notice, just the barest notice, but the notice nonetheless, of this lich who achieved deity, Velshru. And we'll sort of get into the why you're in the opening scene in just a moment. Let's now talk about your abilities and your saves. I'll talk you through these really briefly, and we'll talk about them in terms of their saving throws. I think that's going to be the easiest way to sort of understand when you're using what skills. At the top we have strength. You don't see a strength saving throw very often. A strength saving throw would be to catch a falling portcullis or interpose yourself between a defenseless citizen and a wrecking ball or something. Like if you have to, like in Spider-Man where he stops the train, that's a strength save.
Usually you're thinking bludgeoning style damage, right? Because you don't withstand a blade, you dodge a blade.
Yeah, you're holding something back. You are, with your own pure power, preventing something from happening for usually just a very brief moment in time. Yes.
Would strength still be in play if someone was coming at me with a sword and I used a sword to try and block that sword and hold it? Is that also strength?
Possibly. That sort of gets into how sort of theater of the mind you want to get into combat, but that's definitely a way to resolve that situation, would be with a strength saving
The
throw,
typical of that will be versus your AC. That is your number if someone's going to hit you with a sword, your armor class.
If two people are rolling saves at the same time against each other, that's a contest, and that would be the other way to do it, is have both parties roll a strength contest to resolve how that's going to go when your swords come together in that way. After that is dexterity. Dexterity is real easy. It is sweet flips. It is cool tricks. It is catch the thing, get out of the way, or don't fall. That's basically dexterity. Don't really have to say much more about that. You'll understand, it's avoiding damage. Constitution is sort of the same way. It is resist poison. It is endure, enduring extreme elemental conditions, just sort of anytime you are putting your body through a bad time, the Constitution save determines how bad of a time you're having. The mental saves are a little trickier. Intelligence checks are, the knowledge-based checks. Intelligence saves you don't see very often, but they're basically a way to resist insanity. Like if you see something that like you shouldn't have seen, that no one should have seen, you might make an intelligence save to resist psychic damage, or it might give you nightmares.
Oh no.
A wisdom save, it sort of represents your
My street smarts?
It represents your
tree
street
smarts?
smarts. Certainly, your tree smarts, perhaps. It also represents your like courage or your willpower. Like if it is often used to resist being frightened. And then charisma is in social situations. You are calming a crowd or agitating a crowd, or interacting with nobility and wanting to come off in a certain way. The other way that it sort of happens is it's like your metaphysical staying power. Like if someone is trying to magically banish you or lock you in some sort of a force cage, that is also when you make a charisma save.
Okay.
Indeed. So those are the saves and their associated skills. As far as knowledge checks, each knowledge check relates to a skill. So you add the bonus of the skill that's related to it. And then if you are proficient in that skill, you add your proficiency bonus as well. Currently at your level, your proficiency bonus is 2. It doesn't necessarily represent that the fact that you have been trained in a skill, because it is just a +2. It's just like a 10% bonus to your roll. It mostly represents a skill that you have been exposed to, but perhaps you haven't had to do it under pressure. You might understand how to make a fire with some sticks and rubbing them together, but you've not necessarily done that when it's getting dark and you're out in the wilderness. So that's like you're proficient in survival as a skill, but you might not have.
+5 to survival.
You're very proficient in survival. You are naturally inclined and also exposed to the skills.
Neat.
Yeah. As far as I'm not going to talk through every single skill, but there are a few that are a little harder to define, so I'm going to just walk you through them. Arcana, history, nature, and religion are the knowledge skills. If you want to know something about something in the world or see what your character knows, you can roll one of those skills about it, and I will tell you things. The next interesting skill is insight. Insight is used in 2 ways. It's a wisdom skill. You use it when you are like vibe checking somebody. If you want to know if someone is lying, or if you want to sort of get sort of a read on them, insight is your skill. It's also a good way to connect 2 points. So if you have been given a bunch of information and you're not sure what information is the most relevant to the problem you have, an insight check can sort of help you make connections to the things that you know. And then the last 2 skills worth mentioning here are perception versus investigation. Perception is sort of your just general observation. You're looking at something and just noticing what there is to notice. Investigation is more of an informed skill, like you are looking for something. Like if you're looking for a secret lock that opens the thing, or if you're looking for the hidden trapdoor, or you're looking for the specific piece of paper that's got the evidence on it. Those are investigation, rather than maybe a high perception score might point out a hidden door that you didn't know was there. If you know that the hidden door is there, suddenly you are investigating and looking.
Okay. Cool.
Looking at any of the other skills here, are there any that you have questions about?
I'm not really
Okay.
sure how spells work, which I feel like probably important.
Yes, indeed. Spells function through spell slots. You have a certain number of slots per spell level. You have 2 first level spell slots, and basically what that means is that you can use 2 first level spells per long rest. If someone thinks that it's short rest, please contradict me now.
I don't know.
That depends on your class. Always. You're a cleric, so you'll find in your first level things on your class page, it'll be a spell casting section. And in that section for cleric, it'll tell you exactly how you refresh your spells.
It's a long rest. So you have to take a full, like an 8-hour nap to get your first level spells back. You also have 0th level spells. They're called cantrips, which you basically can use whenever, as many times as you want. You know a total of 3 of them. They're on your character sheet.
Yes, I remember picking them out with you.
And you can use any of those whenever.
Neat.
Yeah, you only get 2 casts per sleep of your higher level spells. And as you gain levels, you get access to more spells and also more spell slots. So, we'll get there as we get there. All right, let's get into the narrative. Camera fades in on Margery Ridgeback. She is lounged as comfortably as she can be in the back of a wagon. Across from her are 2 local legends. One of them is a tree. The other one is made of jelly.
They're local legends?
I suppose now would be a great time to introduce our 2 wagon mates.
Yeah, I don't really...
Lawrence
And
or
one question,
Dante.
Why are they traveling in the first place?
Got to make
Why-
it to a gig, innit? Got
Is
to go
that
to the show. No, my name's not Ringo, I'm Sparkleoneous. I'm the blob person. Might look like I'm made of jelly, but I'm made of Sparkleoneous stuff. Slightly different than jelly.
Good Ringo.
It's not.
It's a really good
just-
Sparkleoneous.
It's just my voice.
Please stop making fun of me.
My name's Sparkleoneous, not Ringo. I don't know a Ringo. Rongo, more like it.
So we've talked about Sparkleoneous is made of jelly. Do we want to do like a more thorough description of what he looks like here?
Yeah, so propped over in the adjacent corner of the wagon, there is a blob person. Looks a lot like Bubble Buddy, for example, from SpongeBob. He's sat cross-legged, and he's got he's sort of a semi-translucent blue, not exactly see-through, a little opaque. And he's got a nice leather vest on. Just no sleeves, no buttons, no patches, just a plain leather vest on. And you can see floating around inside of him what appears to be a metal pot with a lid. A metal pot. There's also a few other things floating around inside of him, but you can't really pick those out.
So yeah, I've got to go to a show. Performing at the bar.
Margery, you know of Sparkleoneous. You, perhaps before this wagon, hadn't ever met, but you had seen the posters. They're hard to miss, since it's the only blob jello humanoid that you've ever seen. It's Sparkleoneous. He plays music. How do you play music?
That was also my question. Is there a harmonica floating in the goo?
You'd like to know how I play my songs, Margery? Is that true? Well, you'll have to come to the show to find out.
All right.
So that's Sparkleoneous.
So you said we're in a wagon at the moment with us?
We're in a wagon. The three of you are in a wagon. There is a large bundle of sacks that is currently asleep in the far corner, and then there's an older gentleman driving the horses, pulling the wagon. But the 3 of you are sitting in the back of this wagon.
Good. And we're on the way to the show that he's going to play at. Is that right?
That's where I'm going.
That's where he's going.
It's like
Yes,
a
indeed.
rideshare wagon.
I've only just met you two.
Not many wagons headed to Dekram.
Are we here by
Alright.
chance altogether?
If you guys would like to establish bonds, that would be super neat, but we can each come up with our own individual reasons for being out this way as well, if we would like.
What Dekram is that a city that people is it in game? Did you make it up, or is it this like a Dungeons and Dragons place?
I made it up. This is a
Okay.
town that I
didn't
have
know.
come up with by myself.
All by yourself.
All by myself. We are headed to
I
this
just didn't
town. Sparkleoneous is headed there because he has a gig booked at the local tavern.
Yeah, my PR manager, boss, and he booked it for me. I don't even know the name of the show, but I'm quite excited to play.
I would say as a personage of some regional renown, Sparkleoneous would have an accompanying associate, either some form of bodyguard or
It's
just
my
sort of.
PR manager, boss, and he's driving the wagon.
Okay, your PR manager is driving the wagon.
Yeah,
Tell us about him.
He's a middle-aged human. He has got some grey hair. Been my PR manager since I was a little boy.
A little
All
Back
right.
in Muddy Farms when I would perform as a child. Good old Boston. He's always looked after me.
Yeah, Sparkleoneous, I've always got your best interests at heart.
All right, that's enough, Boston.
Dante, would you like to introduce your character?
Sure. Just one more question. Did you? What is this city of Dekram? I just want to know background so I can figure out a reason why Hun'gui would be going.
Dekram is a village or a town. It's got probably 100 or so people within the walls. It's like a fort surrounded by farmland. It is a little bit off the beaten path, but many more interesting natural resources also come out of this area. Most notably, a aloe adjacent type of plant known as dragon seer, which is an excellent dragon repellent. They deeply dislike it. They also are in need of local adventurers. You have seen, if you are in the adventuring circles, help wanted posters for Dekram, but most adventurers turn up their noses when they see how far away it is from anything else.
Most adventurers.
Most adventurers, but not you.
I don't have a nose.
As a you're a naiad, correct?
That is right. Hun'gui
Yes.
is a naiad. All naiads are born from a specific type of tree, plant, or mushroom, something like that. He was born from.
What separates a naiad from a dryad?
What is a dryad?
Typically, generally, the thing you're kind of explaining, like a living plant, not typically like a big tree, which is a tree ant, like evil spirit.
Yeah,
but they're like spirit guardians of the forest.
Yeah,
as far as it goes, technically, this is a dryad. Naiads.
He's not like a nature spirit or anything. He's like this. They're made from plants, and they look like normal, like common humans. They can come in all shapes and sizes, like dryads would be, or tree ants even. But they have to be like way older. They live into like easily the 2nd or 3rd century. Hun'gui, however, is very young. A mere boy of 20.
Wow. Okay.
He's tiny.
You're tiny. How small?
But he is
okay,
like
cool.
5'2" is what I put somewhere. He's very short.
He's a sapling.
He's a little sapling. He has this tan skin. He has shaggy brown hair and bright orange eyes.
Excellent. You're sitting in the back of this wagon. You have opted to take up adventuring down this way. Have you migrated here for the interesting climate?
I think Hun'gui would more come to negotiate with the farmers. I think he wants some of this dragon seer you mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Okay, awesome.
Just
So
due to its
you're
rarity.
here to conduct trade and discover interesting flora. Awesome. Love that. So you've been perhaps in the back of this wagon, occasionally regaling the company with tales of the different plants that you're looking for. The countryside around you, you have passed through a great stretch of plains as you journey south. Out of the distance, two wings of mountains have appeared, and you've passed through their gate. One extends straight off into the west, and the other follows you south. On your left, a huge, sprawling forest sits in the shadow of this west-stretching mountain range. This forest is familiar to you in its composition. It's deciduous, and the leaves are turning beautiful colors. You smell sort of the undergrowth and the damp leaves and sort of comforting, familiar forest smells coming off of this forest. This is in contrast to the forest on your other side. On your other side, there is a tall and dark and forbidding forest of pine trees. They range up the slopes of the mountains, and there is absolute silence coming from that side of the path. You can hear birds and you can smell smells, and there's all sorts of wonder and nature off to one side, but to the other, silence. Haribo Tamagotchi, you're in your yurt up on a hill. What are you up to in your yurt?
Harbo's working on a set of like magically infused lanterns, maybe like a solar power kind of attempt at a situation. I'm working on one lantern. I'm just trying to get this like a side project down. I don't have any projects from the town at the moment, so I'm just keeping my mind idle by attempting to create a solar powered lantern.
So you are you're working these pieces into this lantern. Are you inside of your yurt, or are you sitting out in the sun to like test this as you go along?
It's a nice day out, so my work table's outside right now. I have like a little, almost like a blacksmith would have like a little yard in front of their shop, you know what I mean? I have an outside like
a
workbench, yeah, and I have this little like awning thing that I can pull back and over if it's like rainy or something.
Okay, awesome.
I think with Haribo, like in the way his house is set up, like sort of like modern real world amenities brought fantasy, because he knows what these things are. He's played with them, seen them, and done them, but not had to build them from scratch. So they're all like leather.
I'm thinking
we're thinking sort of
Midnight Gospel.
What?
Like fantasy Rube Goldberg?
Did you say Midnight Gospel?
Yeah, I'm thinking his house, but fashioned in medieval times.
Yeah, but a little more yurty.
Instead of a trailer, it's a yurt.
It's kind of Rube Goldbergy, but like refined away from needing like a million connections and like a little more modern. Like I think when people from the town see my stuff, they are surprised, but a little scared because they haven't seen like someone be able to pull an awning back and forth like every day without physical setup, right? The tracks I made for it might be...
Moving ceiling? How'd you move your ceiling?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's sort of do we want to get into how you have all of this knowledge?
How'd you make your ceiling move?
I think that Haribo is not from around here. Not from, what's this town called again?
Dekram.
Haribo has only been in Dekram for about a year. He built this little workshop house out of a sort of rundown, abandoned building outside of town. He has, most of the time he spent around in this area has been like traveling. Only, like I said, in the past year has he like settled down in the area. He brought with him all his knowledge. He's a tinkerer at heart. He just wants to tinker, and make things better. Yeah, Haribo's a human, but he is a changeling. So when he started, he came as a like looking like a human. People didn't particularly like that, and so he sharpened the points of his ears, and now people assume he's a half elf. Not like with a file, like because he's a changeling. Like you can change into an animal. I can change my like humanoid shape to look like different.
Got it. Sorry, you can see the horror on my face.
Yeah, when I noticed that people didn't respond well to humans, like there was a weird amount of hate for humans that I didn't understand. So I pointed my ears because there wasn't that amount of hate for elves. So my ears are just pointed, and I come off as a half elf.
Awesome. So you're working in the yard of your yurt at your workbench, fastening and checking the different sort of little lens pieces as you're adding them to your hypothetical solar powered lamp. One last question about your yurt. I imagine that it sits up on top of a hill, sort of overlooking, a decent view. Yes?
Yeah.
Is your yurt visible from the road?
Yeah, I think that as you come south from a northern area, like the town far to the north of us, right? Like Haribo out in front of his yurt would be like overlooking the road. So as they come down the road in this wagon, they would see a like 5'10", 5'11", mostly human with pointed ears, big bushy red hair, and his like black cloth overalls, just tinkering away in his outside workshop. He does not, by choice or actively, know how to use magic. So all of this is like, he actually had to make glass. He actually is refining metals into like, not exactly like conductive technology, but like things that are somehow doing these things. They probably have innate magical abilities like a lot of shit does in this game. But he doesn't know that he's fucking with that. He thinks it's technology.
Quick question. Are you shredded, Haribo?
He's cut.
Okay.
He's cut.
Just wondering.
He's cut.
Just wondering.
Overalls, no shirt?
Overalls, no shirt, 100%.
Great.
Cloth overalls. He wears he wears an actual pair of steel-toed Doc Marten. And they do have the weird tag coming off the back that says Dr. Martin.
Full name, Dr. Martin. They're slightly longer tags.
Did they say Dr. Martin?
It says Doc Martin.
Does it say Doc Martin? Okay.
Then
it's an original pair of Doc Martens with steel toes.
So you're working on this. In the distance, you can see a wagon coming down the road. Your hill is pretty tall. The way that this valley is set up is it's got the two sets of forests, the larger, more natural seeming, and the smaller, more forbidding forests. The road comes between the two of them, and it winds up a very large hill, and up on top of this hill is the fort of Dekram. Further south of Dekram, the valley widens out and becomes arable farmland, and that is where the majority of the population of this valley all lives. North of the town of Dekram is a set of hills off to the east of the road, and up on top of one of these hills is Haribo's yurt. So Haribo has a commanding view of the northern portion of this valley.
Haribo, you see Sparkleoneous. He's got one arm out of the back of the wagon, and he's leaning his head-shaped bit out, just taking in the scenery. I stop, I wipe the sweat from my chiseled brow, and I wave down the hill.
My chiseled brow.
Hard lines right here.
He's got abs on his...
You had a question?
Oh, I had a question. So my sound might have cut out on my end. Did you say terrible farmland?
Arable. A-I-R-E, arable. Yes.
I couldn't tell if it had cut out and it was terrible, and I was like, oh no, not the terrible.
When he clarified,
farmland.
I thought he said terrible.
Okay, that was my question. I was confused.
Sparkleoneous waves a nub at you. He swings a nub as if in hello.
I wave a hammer as in hello, like I didn't even put it down. It may look lightly threatening.
It's from a fair distance away. It mostly just looks like a wave.
Each other?
The road is at the base of the hill, but this hill is like pretty tall. So
Does he have a stairs?
Could I yell and be heard?
yes,
Okay.
faintly, yes.
Sparkleoneous yells, "Are you coming to the concert tonight?"
You've definitely heard of the concert tonight. Sparkleoneous is going to be in town.
I wasn't planning on it. I got some work to take care of up here. The wagon is almost out of earshot. I'll give you a call. A nod. Nothing to shout back at. That's a stranger. Boss, and don't forget to give Chiseled Man a comp.
You three are sitting in the back of this wagon. You are headed down the road to Dekram, and Barson is sitting in the driver's seat, and he is not really talking to any of you. He's just kind of talking. Barson's manner is sort of is an ongoing string of words directed in Sparkleonious's direction, but not with any sort of response expected. Sort of along the lines of, it's always good to have a manager along with you on these sorts of rides. I'm here to take care of you. I provide your insurance, if you know what I'm talking about. Dental, health, vision, got to have them. Got to have them in this modern day and age.
I don't
booked you
have
this
teeth,
gig.
but yes, it's all very helpful. Thank you. I gotta have somebody to hang up the post and give out the comps.
Yes. Hang up the posters. I give out the comps. I make the deals and do the handshakes. Got to have hands to do the handshakes.
That's very
I have
true.
me,
I also don't
Barson
have
around.
Yes, thank you, boss.
Meanwhile,
And Sparkleoneous really quick does look at the other two folks in the wagon and goes, "Sorry about him."
how would they know that you had done that?
So it's sort of like it's all in the shoulders. So like it's full body shoulders look over at Hun'gui Buoi. Full body shoulders look over back at the other one and just goes, "Sorry about him."
It's a tingling sensation down the spine. You know when he's looking at you.
If you'd like, I can put sort of a nose there so that you can tell where I'm looking, but
Maybe a pair of
Comically too
glasses.
large.
I can sort of look everywhere.
I do sort of the idea of glass eyes is very funny.
How about I just point? Sparkleoneous
Or
just
just
point.
two pebbles.
Just kidding, I'm not going to do that. That'd be very rude.
Two pebbles just floating in his head.
Sometimes they don't have to be glass eyes. They can just be pebbles. Gives the
Like
general
Hun'gui
idea
would
of
just
pupil.
Look away with tears in his eyes.
Boston, make a note. Pebble for eyes. Thank you.
Yes, sir, boss. I'll make a note. And Barson doesn't. Hun'gui, as you're looking away from all of that, you see hanging from a branch up ahead on the road a small humanoid figure holding a bow and arrow. You see this person is dangling from one arm out of a tree for all of 2-3 seconds before they scramble back up into the branches.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Do you make mention of it?
Don't make mention, but I do want to roll insight as we're passing by.
Okay.
Where did my stats go? I just want to know if they're actually scrambling or is that bow aimed at me? Are they dangerous? I got
First
one.
roll of the season.
First roll. I got a 1.
What?
Probably
I got a
kids. There's probably kids just climbing trees with their kids' bows. I don't. That's obviously harmless. Kids do this all the time.
Obviously
What are they gonna?
See it a million
roll.
times.
This bodes well.
Bro.
Okay.
I know I use the bow too.
Yeah. How did you learn how to shoot a bow and arrow? You were a sprout once with your sprout bow. This is clearly more of the same.
Baby Ranger.
And so, as your wagon passes beneath the boughs of this large juniper tree, you are caught completely off guard.
Somehow.
When when an arrow flies out of the trees and strikes Barson.
Barson.
No.
Just Barson right in the middle of his lecture to no one. Arrow flies down and lodges itself right in between his shoulder and his neck, and he goes,
Oh no.
"Ah!" And he topples right off of the wagon and just onto the ground.
Holy shit. How far away, like past my yurt, is this?
Like 50, 60 feet past your yurt. If you haven't gone back inside of your yurt, if you're still working, you definitely hear Arson cry out as he's hit with this arrow.
Okay.
At the same time that he is hit, 4 other arrows shoot out of the trees. 2 of them are aimed at Hun'gui, and one of them misses, and one of them strikes for 2 damage, just thunk into you. And then one is each aimed at Margery and at Sparkleoneous. The one at Sparkleoneous shoots right by, whizzes, maybe even dimples his plasma as it doesn't hit him. And the one, Margery, what is your AC? Does a 14 hit you?
I was trying to find my armor. No, I have 15. Haha.
All right. Well, then an arrow, it thunks into you. It does impact you, but it does not wound you. You take no damage. You just have an arrow sticking out of your armor. You have a look around. You see, as these arrows are flying out, you can see small humanoids jumping from tree to tree to try and reposition. Roll initiative.
They're just kids. It's fine. They're not dangerous.
I got a 6.
Add dexterity and proficiency every time you roll initiative.
All right. Then I got a 9.
My initiative is 8.
My initiative is 16.
17.
Then you are up first. Make a perception check for me.
4. 3. 3. Not 4. 3.
Oh, wow. Then you see these small humanoids scrambling into the trees, and you see them duck behind the trunks of these trees, but as soon as they do that, you don't know which tree it was that they ducked behind here. What would you like to do?
Goodness, if I can't see anything, I'm gonna get out of the wagon. Excuse me. Sorry, Sparkleoneous. I'm gonna squeeze past you.
Oh, that's okay. You can go right through me if you need to.
No, thank you.
Don't linger. Don't linger.
I'm gonna roll stealth just to try to hide. Does 4, 5, 6, 7. How's that?
You roll a 7. Now I'm gonna have to. You hide behind a tree. You do hide behind a tree on the same side of the road as these humanoids, so you might be hiding behind a tree, just like right in their line of sight here.
I wanted to hide behind the wagon, though.
Oh, you want to hide behind the wagon? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you crouch behind this wagon. A 7. You are crouched behind the wagon.
And crouched behind the wagon.
Tamagotchi, you hear a cry from down at the bottom of the hill, and looking down, you see
elderly
that
man's
there's
cry.
an elderly man's cry. A middle-aged man, yes, unfit and unsuited for battle, has been exposed to battle. Do you feel an inclination to get involved? What is you can sort of see this from above, that there are now arrows and signs of a scuffle down at the foot of the hill.
Okay. If I run 30 feet closer, am I 15 feet towards a person in a tree?
If you do that again next turn, yes. But this turn, no.
Okay. And then the people that hid behind trees to hide from Dante, or to hide from Hun'gui, since I'm in a different area, like they're not hiding from me, right? They're hiding from the people in this wagon. Yeah. My question is, did they hide from me, or can I see if they're hiding from, you know what I mean?
I think you can still see them. Mostly they're hidden from Hun'gui because Hun'gui did not roll great,
right?
To try and spot them. They also rolled pretty poorly in their hiding checks. They are not like expressly terribly well hidden. So yes, you can see them. They are poking out from behind some of these trees.
And when you say they, how many are they, and how far apart are they?
There are 5 of them, and They are spread out roughly 15 to 20 feet apart, up in these trees behind them.
Gonna fire off crossbow bolt at particular
All
matter
right.
which one the closest one, just to draw some attention. 21 to hit.
Certainly.
Yep. 5 damage piercing. Thunk.
Thunk indeed. You come charging down this hill. Is your crossbow, have you made any sort of modifications to it? Have you done any? All right.
Not to any of my stuff.
Okay. You crouch down and sort of brace your crossbow and fire it off. And it shoots in, and you hear sort of like from the trees as a small form falls down from these trees and onto the ground, and everyone you can see is a goblin. He's wearing a leather loincloth and a bandolier of arrows. And now he himself has taken an arrow right in the stomach.
And I'd like to shout up to the rest of them. I say, now you guys know you're not allowed to be hunting around my parts. Go on, get, unless you want the same to happen to the rest of you.
Make an intimidation check.
18.
Oh, dang. Okay. Yeah. I mean,
it's less intimidating in this moment and more of a historical intimidation that I fucked him up over the past. You know? I don't need to, like, instill that fear now. I've done it in the past. I'm just reminding them of that fear.
Yes. The one that you've shot does not hesitate to flee. Flees immediately. The rest of them, yes, because the goblins actually go next after Tamagotchi. So the rest of them yell obscenities in Goblin at you, Tamagotchi. One of them throws a rock. It does not come anywhere near, like it lands about like 10 feet from you, but like rocks fly from the trees at you. And they don't say good things about you or your lineage. But then they all run away.
That sounds bad. Quite rude.
Say, make sure you stop by for tea on Sunday. As they run.
Sparkleoneous hops out of the wagon and he says, well, I'll tell you what, you've earned a second comp to my show this evening. Boston, let's get you all up. Come on then. And he tries to get him to stand up while casting Healing Word on him.
I was going to do that too, yeah.
The Healing Word is, get up. You lazy piece of shit. Come on then, Boston. It's not the first time you've been laid out. Come on then. Stand up.
How much does what is Healing Word? How much does that?
I don't remember. I'm looking.
1d4. Is it 1d4? Plus spellcasting modifier.
Then he gets healed for 7 HP.
Banger.
Wow, yeah. He heals completely to full. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
of
you.
course. It's all part
Does
of the business.
Did you pull the arrow out, or did the arrow like?
Yes, I pulled the arrow
get, like,
out. Now he's
pushed out
safe.
by
He's
healing?
bossing.
The next big hit.
That's
Write
what
it
I've been
down.
working on. Boston gets shot by arrows a lot.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. I don't know what I would have done without you there. Just like all of the other times that I get shot with arrows.
No,
on this,
thank you.
On this
You're a
job.
wonderful meat shield, Boston. Thank you. I don't have any meat, but you sure do.
I don't quite know how to feel about that, but you're
Sorry,
welcome.
I'm hungry. And he's hungry.
My name is Haribo Tamagotchi.
Nice to meet you. I'm
Nice to meet you,
Sparkleoneous.
Haribo.
Perhaps you've heard of me.
Oh, definitely. I've seen your posters around town.
Oh, that's Barson's work. He's quite the artist, isn't he?
That's me. I'm Barson. Good to meet you. And he offers a handshake.
I shake his hand.
He shakes your hand very vigorously for longer than you would prefer. Thank you so much. You saved my proverbial and literal and metaphorical bacon right there.
All right, that's enough now.
Have you ever thought about having a manager? It just a low cost of 3 gold pieces for 1 month's managerial services. From me, Barson. I'd give you a business card, but they're in my other pants.
I would, but only accept business from those with cards.
A truly unfortunate set of circumstances.
Hold on, hang on. And then Sparkleoneous sort of like leans over and his pot plops out of his stomach onto the ground, and he opens up the lid and he sort of ruffles around in it. And he goes,
Horrible.
"Oh,
Every time.
I've got
Every
one.
time.
Here you are. For you, Mr. Tamagotchi."
Is this a Barson card or is this a Sparkleoneous card?
Flip it. Boston's on the back.
Oh, I'm not looking for a manager right now.
Are you
And I hand
perhaps
it back.
looking for a musician? Flip the card back around. That's me, Sparkleoneous.
I'll at least come check out your comp show.
Very good. Here's the comps, and I also open up the pot again, ruffle around for a second, and hand you 2 more pieces of paper. Comps tonight's show at the bar named
Sylvana's Inn and Tavern.
All right then. Well, I've got to go get to the green room. I've got quite the ride I'm intending to enjoy in the green room. And I climb back up into the wagon.
I look forward to catching your show.
Please do. If you'll definitely come, I will express my thank you monetarily. Drinks on me, sir. You've saved my life.
All right. Well, it seems I've got to find myself a date to this little shindig, and I wave the 2 tickets and walk back to my yurt.
Awesome.
Not
Okay.
you.
Well, this is uncomfortable now, and giddy up.
Go on.
And
get
away.
it.
So the wagon takes you away down the road and up the hill, around the sloping curve to the gates to the walled town of Dekram. Dekram is a small town, not a whole lot more than a fort, with a tall wall surrounding it. As you pass through the wall, you see one guard. He is rudimentarily equipped. He's sitting on a stool. He's not really doing a whole lot of guarding, it would seem. He's mostly there just to be there. He sort of chips a nod to you. And then as he sees Sparkleoneous, his eyes get real big and his jaw drops, but he doesn't say anything.
Sparkleoneous just nods. He just leans his whole upper body forward.
He doesn't respond to that. His astonished face is unchanged. And your wagon pulls into an open courtyard. Surrounding the courtyard, there is a stable to your right. In front of you, there is a tall tower, perhaps 3-4 stories tall. To the left of the tower is a shop of some sort. It's got a sign out front that says Bryrene's Grand Shop. GRANDESHOPPE. And then to your left on the other side is Sylvana's Inn and Tavern, a large, sprawling 2-story building with a rudimentary sort of stables spot to post up your horses outside, a number of rocking chairs and things. Not at this time in the afternoon occupied, but certainly, they surround a fire pit. There is good vibes on the outside of this building. It is painted a jaunty green with golden trim on the windowsills, and you can see smoke coming out of the chimney.
So, what are you chaps doing while you're in town? Got any fun plans for the afternoon?
Maybe. Well, seeing you is one of them, but I'll probably be back later when it's time for your show.
Very good. Boston will be glad to hear that.
Very, very good.
He loves it when the seats are filled.
Well, you did give us comps as soon as you met us, so I guess I too will see you at your show. And I waved my piece of paper to show you that I have it.
There's going to be 1 ticket sold to this show. Everything else is going to be given out for free.
I just imagine that he likes to give out tickets.
It's about the 2-drink minimum.
And,
All right.
When does the show start? Because my ticket just has your name on it. It doesn't say anything else. So
Sundown. That's when all my shows start. The Sundown Showdown Festival.
The Sundown series.
Part 1.
Part 1.
This is his album. I imagine.
It's just it's the show I'm touring right now.
It's a tour for the album,
Showdown Part 1.
How exciting!
How exciting indeed.
It's a show about my
Sparkleoneous.
life.
Barson and Sparkleoneous, you guys head into the tavern. Margery
Hun'gui?
and Hun'gui, what is it that the two of you would like to do? Are you going to follow these two into the tavern, or would you like to explore the town a little further?
So I have a note of Falcrest. Which town was that?
That was the previous name for the town. Falcrest and Dekram are the same spot. That
I
is
see.
my goof, an earlier version.
That is okay. So, okay, I think that means I live here. Dekram. So I was like, we're going to the whole different city. Yay. So,
Hold up. Now Fallcrest can be the small town to the north of Dekram.
Town in between here and the big city.
Makes sense. Now.
That way it doesn't
Okay.
confuse our intro.
Instead of going to local traders, Hun'gui's gonna go visit home before the show.
Great.
Where is home for Hun'gui?
Home is in a cabin in the forest within the near farmland. His adopted parents own a farm.
What do they farm
Whoa,
there?
You're not gonna believe this one. Wait till you see my show tonight.
They farm cows and a lot of carrots. So many carrots.
So many carrots.
Cows and carrots.
Cows and
Awesome.
carrots and I want to say potatoes too. Maybe I don't know.
Excellent. Okay. So Hun'gui walks off down the hill. Your folks' farm is one of the nearer farms to Dekram. It's just down the path. The first left is to the graveyard, and the first right is to your farm. Cows and carrots and maybe potatoes. You see the familiar fence hung with carrots drying in the sun at every fence post.
The carrots are hung.
Carrots are
My
How
hung.
That's
wet, how
joy.
wet are your carrots that they need to be dried out?
Some of
Soaking
them
wet.
need
They come out
some of them need
soaking.
to be dried. That's how you make carrot powder.
Juicy carrots.
Right, of course.
You come up the drive and there's your cottage. There's carrot plants, there's carrot bushes. Your family has figured out how to grow carrots on all sorts of different forms of vegetables. Maybe with your help, who knows? Maybe they were doing it before they ever discovered you. Tell me about your folks.
Jerry and Jane, the father and mother, and then my toddler sister that they had before finding me, Jill.
Jerry, Jane, and Jill. All right.
Indeed.
The carrot and cow farmers.
Are they
Oh yes,
And maybe potato.
human?
they are human.
Okay.
They're humans in a
Um,
racist town, in the anti-human.
2 of 3 humans here.
It's a
No,
couple.
three of
Not-
4.
3 or
The
4.
toddler.
3 or 4.
Let's see. As you're coming into the gate, you see your father, Jerry, is working hard in the carrot garden, and your mother is off somewhere, probably with the cows. And as you come up the drive, dashing out of the cottage comes Jane. She yells, "Hungry!" And she runs straight into your shins and just sort of beats on your thighs. Pick me up!
Oh, I was so confused. I was like, sorry, Jane's the mother.
Jill, Jill, mom comes running up.
Pick me up, son. Pick me up.
You're
Pick up your
5'2", but pick me up.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Oh boy.
That's funny.
I pick up Jill and I happily spin her around. Oh,
Your father, when Jill says all of that, your father looks around and his face brightens, his brow creases with joy, and you'll have a one wonderful family group hug as you guys talk about the happenings on the farm and what's new out there.
and they all sigh together, and you.
I got attacked by goblins on the way here. Or small children.
Sparkleoneous, you're in your dressing room. I want to find out what this rider was about. You said a lot of things
I've
about
got
a
it right
rider.
here. So Sparkleoneous has a pretty small rider. It's just 7 things. It is 3 whittled objects, and 3 liquids of various viscosities, and 1 egg.
Are you saying rider or writer?
Rider.
Rider?
Oh, I don't know what that means.
When someone does a show, they have a list of things that the
venue provides.
The venue has to provide for them.
Oh,
If you've heard
okay.
jokes
I didn't even know.
I'll
I
only
didn't know if it
eat
was
the
a-
M&Ms.
Oh,
That kind
I
of
didn't know if that was a Dungeons and Dragons thing. I didn't understand. That was just a normal, real
That's a
human
normal,
thing
real
that I
thing
didn't
to do.
understand.
Yeah.
Got it,
Second
got it.
truck nuts.
Yeah, truck nuts part 2.
No.
So Sparkleoneous's truck nuts are 3 whittled objects, 3 liquids of different viscosities, and 1 egg. Local.
Egg.
One local
I know someone who would
Okay.
love to whittle those objects for you.
Well, they need to be here now, so they need to have already done it. Otherwise,
Oh,
I'm not performing. I'm just
So
kidding.
sad.
Sparkleoneous isn't a diva.
Oh.
The egg and the liquids of different viscosities are already there waiting for you.
Oh, lovely.
You have oil, you have honey, and you have vodka or grain
Milk.
alcohol or something.
Very good. Yes.
Milk.
So, I
Is it
grabbed
vodka made from carrots?
I
instead
grabbed the
of
vodka
potato?
milk bottle and I just sort of flip it and I just like put it inside of my chest. Oh, interesting.
So does it goo out inside of you? Like, can we see what's happening when liquids go in?
Are you here?
No, this is just me. This is me just grossed out.
audience
and
asking.
Curious.
So what it looks like,
definitely a worthwhile question.
because I'm not exactly, I'm kind of opaque. Sparkleoneous is kind of opaque. What you see whenever I put a bottle inside of myself is the cap, or like I guess the cork in this case. Cork would get dissolved pretty quickly, and then all of the liquid would leak out into me. Sparkleoneous doesn't taste, but Sparkleoneous can feel. So it's all about textures for him. But this is how
Got
he
it.
eats things.
Okay.
And there's
But
a short
liquid diet
list of
only.
things. No, there's a short list of things that I can't eat. But that's what I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna eat the whittled objects. Those are also food.
Oh, okay. Okay. Is there a species to what you are? Or are you just bubble?
Plasmoid.
I'm a plasmoid.
That's a thing you can do in Dungeons and Dragons?
They made a space
That's so
expansion for Dungeons
cool.
and Dragons, so I'm
It's a really recent release.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it during the show, but I'm not from this planet.
Me neither.
I think the first whittle object is also there. Like a carved woodland animal, perhaps a rabbit carved of some sort of a wood, cherry wood, perhaps.
Oh, lovely. Barson, will you stand on the other side of the room and just hock that into my body, please? Just give it a good toss then, thank you.
This can't be the first time he's done this.
No way.
It's not. I
Hard
still
as
don't
you-
understand why I have to do this.
Hard as you please.
Hard as I please, and he does. He goes over to the other side of the room and he sort of like a softball throw
Perfect.
into.
He can't throw
Mhm.
very hard, but it's interesting.
You know, I have to do this every show, so I sort of got to change it up. Keeps it
you in
interesting
shape.
for me.
Keeps you in shape.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you.
Haribo, what do you have to prepare before before the show tonight?
I go back to my yurt. I start putting away my outside workshop. I pull the shade back to let everything, or I guess I pull the shade, make sure that the shade is on so that in case it rains tonight, nothing gets ruined out here. I just put everything away, and then I change into a new pair of black cloth overalls, and I head into town. I have one stop to make. I imagine Yeah, no, I've got one stop to make before heading over to the concert. I might spend time in town if there's just more time, but I want to head into town and go to Minerva's Dried Goods.
Minerva's Dried Goods.
Minerva's Dried Goods. A lot of people in town don't particularly take well to Haribo. He is kind of looked at like kind of the town kook. He's got some wild stories, but yeah, just kind of an outsider. But Minerva doesn't really look at him that way. She joins him for tea on Sundays as a real invitation to the goblins, though they never come. Minerva does join on Sundays for tea, and Hun'gui does as well sometimes. But yeah, so I'm just going to Minerva's place. I want to... What does Minerva's shop look like, and where in the fort is it?
Minerva's shop is a little bit deeper. There's basically one road in the fort. It extends from the main sort of courtyard all the way around the corner to like the multi-denominational temple. Further around that corner, closer to the temple, is Minerva's Dried Goods. And it is a fairly unassuming building on the exterior. The front window looks in on a variety of fresh and dried goods, because Minerva is the town herbalist. She is a forager extraordinaire, knowledgeable in many a plant species and its uses. The inside of her shop is arranged pleasingly with racks of herbs drying and jars of different powders and extracts and unguents. And there's always a very pleasant smell of something incense related, some sort of forest smell, layered with honeysuckle and juniper. And Minerva can usually be found bustling about, either creating some sort of mixture or taking apart some form of plant for its different uses.
I'm going to push my way into the shop, open the door, and say, "Good afternoon, my dear. How are you doing today?"
She is behind the desk, working at something in a mortar and pestle. And she says, she looks up and her face brightens and she says, "Haribo, so nice of you to join me. Please sit. Would you like some tea?"
Yes, the juniper you brought by my place last week would be divine if you have any left.
Yes, of course. I'll set that to steep right away. She ducks behind a curtain.
I do speak up a little bit. I say, I do appreciate the tea, a little midday snack. I came by myself, though, to see if you had any plans on attending the, I look at the ticket, Sparkleoneous affair this evening in town.
Oh, of course.
The Sundown
I
Showdown
do.
Part 1?
I can't miss the first part of our Sundown Showdown series.
I attended Part 2 last year. I can't wait for Part 1.
All of the previous parts have been great, so we've got to see the one that started it all. I didn't think that you were a music lover, Tamagotchi.
Yeah, no, typically prefer the hum of the forest at night, but I got two, I look at them again, comp tickets for the show tonight, and I figured it might make for a fun time if we attended together.
You flip the card on the back and it says, it spells it out, complimentary.
Complimentary tickets I got for the show.
Oh wow! I had been planning on giving some money, but now I can save it for merch. Sparkleoneous, do you have merch?
I heard that that it's all about the 2-drink minimum, so maybe we get a couple extra drinks here.
Barson carries around a small satchel that has Sparkleoneous vests. They're basically replicas of Sparkleoneous' vest, but it says on the back
that's
Sparkleoneous. And then it always has the name of the tour, so right now they all say Sundown Showdown Part 1.
It's gonna be like a crowd of people there wearing a Sundown Showdown Part 2 vest.
How packed is this venue going to be? Because you said it's a small satchel, so then these vests are like
They're pretty rare.
Got it. Because you said small satchel, and Barson is an old man.
We don't travel with a lot. We don't travel with like a bus, so it's just whatever he can carry. And we sold a bunch
Yeah,
of them
they-
at the last place, so.
Cool.
They're like 7 or 8 silver for a vest. Like they're not cheap.
It's where Barson gets all his money from. Because I don't really pay him. He's got to get merch sales to get paid. That's why he's a very motivated salesman.
I want to know y'all's backstory.
I mean, I'm going to sing about it here in a minute.
Oh, nice.
Haribo share it as time goes on.
Minerva happily agrees to accompany you, and with this 2-drink minimum, let's live a little, I suppose, if that's what the ticket encourages us to do.
Yes, I think that a night of getting ourselves down in our cups might be a interesting way to spend it.
Revels.
Revels indeed.
Meanwhile, Margery Ridgeback, what is you're in a new spot. You're in a new town. Where is your first stop?
Yeah, so Margery is in town to try and see if she can run down a lead for a new spell. Because on my research that I did about necromancers, is some of them are just wanting to obtain knowledge and just know more so they can do more. And Vel Sharoon, a lot of them are very more. So half of them are divided in like the physical, like not so nice things that they do, and then the other half is all about like obtaining knowledge through like reading versus, so it's like practice to learn what is best versus like reading about it. So
yeah,
she's
I mean, forbidden knowledge is forbidden knowledge. So like, even
So
if you're just doing it for knowledge, if it's against the rules, you're still like in that boat. So yeah, hell
It's
yeah,
the
hell yeah.
laws of God and man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she is also mainly in town to run down a lead in the. She heard that there was a worker in the graveyard out past right before Hun'gui's house, and so she's gonna wander that way to see if she can meet that lead. And she doesn't know the name. She just knows that there's someone. That it's a very slim lead because this is also in the middle of nowhere, but she's got time, and she's young, so it's worth it to her to go that far distance on a possible that it might not actually be a real thing. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just headed that way.
Let's see.
I don't know anything about the graveyard. I just know I know there's rumor that someone that has this knowledge about a new technique with bringing certain races back is at this graveyard, in theory.
Okay. You are wandering down this path to the graveyard. The graveyard is a small affair, not a ton of graves. It's got a short wrought iron fence around it. And out front of it is like a one-room shack, like a 10 by 10 hut, where the gravekeeper lives. Sitting outside of that hut is an older elf. He's leaning on a shovel, and he sort of squints at you as you come down towards him. Here now, what can we do for you here?
Hello. I come seeking knowledge about. I look around to kind of see if there's anyone about. And I lean closer. Vel Sharoon, and I heard tale that there might be someone here that has knowledge that I'm curious to learn as well. I kind of lean back out of space.
Well, I'm certain that there's knowledge here that you can have. I don't know this Vel Sharoon that you speak of, but I can tell you that if you want to know things about graves and death and how you bury folks, I'm the guy. My name's Neville. I'm Neville the Gravekeeper, and I dig the holes and I put people in them.
I would like to roll to see if Neville the Gravedigger is trying to hide Is he lying to me? I know it's. Can I do that? Is that allowed?
Insight.
Oh wow! I rolled a 19 plus 5.
Yup.
Oh gosh.
You know about the skin chairs.
Gosh, really darn. Wow. I gotta hear about this.
Oh wow! I have plus 5 to insight. Wow.
Wow. All right.
Tell me all his secrets.
Neville does. Neville does know who Velsharoon is. You saw just like you saw his eyes get a little wider when you said that name. He doesn't want to tell you. He doesn't want to tell you about it. Why doesn't he want to tell you about it? Tough to say. Maybe he's got his own. The other thing about necromancers is that they don't often want to share their knowledge, the knowledge that they found. So either this guy is up to something and he doesn't want to tell you about it, or someone has already gotten to him first and buttoned him up, and he doesn't want to share it with a second person. I think that's sort of those are the inclinations that you're seeing here.
All right. I was give me a second to think. All right. Yeah, I just kind of I smile to try. I'm trying to hide the fact. I don't want him to know that I know that he's lying. So I'm gonna try and see if I can win Neville the Gravedigger over. So tell me more about this hole digging that you do. If you've got so much knowledge about burying folk, as you said, I'd love to learn. Please show me. Let's see.
Hi, stranger. Teach me how to bury a body.
He said that he'd offer me knowledge if I asked for it.
Yeah. He's like, oh, I thought you'd never ask. This is I'm Neville the Gravedigger, and this is my crash course in digging graves. It's all in the wrists. You got to use your special shoveling technique, and he shows you. And this is how you fling the dirt. You fling the dirt just this way, so that the folks, the dead folks, they know that they're being respected. This is the respectful way to use a shovel. I don't know whether that is at all helpful as far as like getting him to show you special things and getting him on your side, but he does.
I was trying to. My intention was because everyone in this town seems like they just want to gab, and so I have found that if you just give them the opportunity to gab, they'll relax a little bit more. Maybe I can try asking again. Like, are you sure you haven't heard about Velsharoon at all? Like that, you've never heard that name? Just to see, because I mean, I have done this tactic in real life at my terrible retail jobs, and it works. So I was trying. So this is me trying to apply the practice.
Roll a persuasion or a charisma check of some sort.
Well, that's that's a 6.
At the end of his shoveling lesson, you slip in here and you ask him one more time. You ask him about Velsharoon, and he says, "Well, I know that there's all sorts of different gods and folks up there that they try and hold different sways over the folks that go in the ground, but it's not my responsibility to try and take sides in these things. I just put the folks in the ground." I think he displays an awareness of these things, but he doesn't want to talk to you about it just this moment.
Okay, then I figured that he gabbed and he dug a hole, so it probably took enough time for it to be sundown. So I'm gonna go to the concert and maybe see if I can just go about, if there is a second person, if I can just maybe put out some vibes and see just by at this concert, because I'm assuming most of the town is gonna go. It seems like everyone's super excited for Sparkleoneous. Sundown, Throwdown, I can't remember what it was called.
Sundown, Showdown 1. Sundown, Showdown, Part 1.
Showdown. I said Throwdown, sorry. Part 1.
Showdown, Throwdown, yeah. Then that we will skip to the concert. So we're going to talk about Sylvanas Inn and Tavern. The ground floor of Sylvanas Inn and Tavern is a wide tavern space. There is a low stage to one side a central fireplace that goes up into a chimney, and many, many tables and booths. And this building is packed. There are farmers from all across the southern farms. There are many, if not most, of the shopkeepers. Hun'gui is there sitting at a table with his family, all excited to see the show. Margery, are you at a table or at a bar?
I'm like against the wall, standing. If there's a spot for that, so I can kind of see the whole space and scope it out.
You're sitting there scoping it out, and then Tamagotchi and Minerva, you two are seated at the bar with drinks in hand, waiting. There is, I think, a local lutesman who's just like the bar opener.
Fuck yeah. Is this a set follow-up question? Is this a smoking venue? Can I smoke here?
Yeah. Yes.
Cool.
You can smoke here.
I roll up a mixture
Your fantasy smokes,
and juniper, like a part of the tea that she had brought that we were drinking earlier.
Awesome.
Lots of smoking in this episode.
Yeah, again, not sponsored by Big Tobacco.
No. No.
Sponsored by Juniper.
You know what? It's weed. It's weed and juniper. I'd prefer to smoke weed.
Awesome.
I was gonna say, at
smoking
least
weed and
fictional M
juniper
gets to smoke.
out of a corncob pipe.
No, I've rolled it. I'm not smoking out of corncob pipe. Not even in your fantasy world.
It's not Frosty the Snowman.
Characters make perception checks. Just as you're scoping out the... Not you.
Sparkleoneous is doing he's doing his pre-show routine.
I got an 8 for perception.
I got a 13.
22.
Wow.
You perceived the hell out of that.
You really did.
Saw it.
You peeped it real good.
Whatever it is, I saw it.
Hun'gui's too busy asking his parents for coin for trade.
He wants to play the claw game. In which
How
the
old
wizard
is
has to
Hun'gui?
cast mage hands and pick up an object.
He's 20.
He was 20, okay.
He's 20.
Yeah, I think Sparkleoneous is the youngest party.
How old is he?
Sparkleoneous is 8.
Oh,
He's
I
8.
didn't know that. Why does he
That's
sound
awesome.
like a middle-aged Ringo Starr?
He's an alien.
Because I'm a blob person. Because I'm speaking
Fair.
out of a hole
He's
in
made
my
of
body.
plasma. What questions are there?
Just want to know.
The lute player is... He doesn't sing. He's just instrumental. He's just like background music. He's playing Sorcery in the Sky with Diamonds, well-known fantasy tune.
It's gonna get us copyright infringed even in a loot version.
Well,
Blink, dink, blonk, bonk, dink, bonk.
that's why I don't play the lute and won't make it happen. But he's out there. He's got like a jar, very hoping for coins dropped in there. No one has dropped a coin in there yet.
What's his name? Do we know his name?
He does need a name. What do you say?
Lutimus.
And the song is actually Lute in the Sky with Diamonds.
Lute.
Yeah, no one likes his whole deal.
Just
Oh,
puns on the word
Lutimus.
loot.
Only lute
It's all
puns.
they could find on a short notice, okay?
No, this is the guy. This is like the.
This is their.
This is the usual. This is their usual player is Lutimus.
No wonder
and-
they're so excited for Sparkleoneous. Showdown. It's no, I don't know.
The posters are all different too.
I can't
Because each of them were hand done.
Sometimes Morrison.
They're all
does
sort of
right wrong.
smudged. It could be anything.
If you get a poster that was out in the rain, it's kind of hard to tell.
Sorry.
Some of the rowdier folks did think it was a throwdown and are a little disappointed, but I think that that they are excited nonetheless by the overall vibes in here. Folks are excited. With a 13, Margery, you notice, I would say, two things. A, there is a large group of youths in the front row, and they appear to all be gambling and fully ignoring Lutimus.
The front row? The disrespect.
Yes. They're gambling up on the edge of the stage.
Oh.
There is money and dice right near Lutimus's cup. Lutimus's cup is still empty. And also you see a good selection of Showdown Throwdown number 2 vests. Apparently Showdown Throwdown 2 was also pretty well attended. With a 20, you said a 21 on your perception, Tamagotchi?
22.
22.
Yeah.
Dang. You see all of that. You also see that Lutimus is seething. Lutimus is furious at the reception that he's getting right now. You also see off in the corner of the bar, you see an elderly elven gentleman who is sort of keeping an eye on everything around the bar. He's watching all of the players here.
An elderly gentleman I recognize?
Yes, you recognize him. He's the gravekeeper.
Oh,
Neville the gravedigger.
Okay.
I'm certain I've bought things from Neville or like.
What does the gravekeeper sell to you?
Bone meal, very conductive. That's primarily it is bone meal. It's like really conductive. A lot of the gardeners will also buy it from him. People in town know about this. This is like a way for us to reduce, reuse, recycle, and not like expand on the graveyard infinitely.
What, am I gonna bury all of the body? Come on.
So the respectful part of the grave digging was just
I
pure.
respectfully bury most of the body.
No, they get buried.
We only bury immediate relatives.
Once the process underground is done, he'll dig them up and use the bone meal. I don't know.
Look, they didn't buy a lot. I'm sorry.
Look, that's
So it's like if someone offers more money, he digs the person that's already in that plot out and puts the more money in.
Yep, I put the richer person in and I grind up the poor person.
No, I imagine it's first in, first out. Like, there's only 20 slots in the graveyard, so once
That
the
is how it
21st
works.
person die, the first person gets removed and they put the next body in.
You do.
Except
They do get put in a grinder. That's real.
And that's what he does. He does that, and then we buy the bone meal for the farms and
It's real
me
here,
for
too.
electric conduction.
Did you make the grinder for them, or did they? But they've just had this.
You know what?
Or is it mortar pestle situation? That would take forever.
They used to buy bones and grind them up mostly, right? Like it's, as long as you have to churn butter, you have to grind bones for bone meal. But once Haribo came to town, he was able to develop like a better mechanical grinder, less mortar and pestle and more like spinning of a wheel or something like that. Grinds it much faster.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a stationary bicycle, a little bit. Yeah, it's like pedal powered.
Yeah,
Neville's
unnecessarily
out here.
extra.
So everyone's legs are just jacked, or is it just
He's got that
Neville, or does he
biker
hire
bag.
people?
Neville's got a dump.
Old man with a tight ass.
With a tight ass. He turns around telling you no to necromancy, and you see this shiny round butt.
you can bounce a quarter off it.
He's all butt and forearms. He's got the digging muscles and the biking muscle.
He's got it. Oh, okay. Neville's kind of a babe. Silver fox.
He's got it all.
We really got attached to Neville, Gabe.
This is good to know.
He's got that dumper.
Yeah, in my notes here,
God.
I've got Neville the Gravekeeper, and then in parentheses, I'm gonna write Dumpy.
Dumpy aside, we have mercifully come to the end of Lutimus's set. He plays his last final twanglings, and he says, "Thank you very much. donations and into the in the cup they're appreciated.
Please tip
Thanks.
me.
I'll be over at this table over right here. You can see it. You can see it right here. And someone goes, boo!
Oh no.
And Ludimus says, "Oh, you didn't have to do it like that." And
Barson
one
is
of the
over
kids-
on the side of the stage, just like
Aw.
He's just giving like the slowest one-person clap on the edge of the stage. Barson's very supportive but old.
I go by his table during like the rest of the night, and I drop off a couple silver in his little hat. I don't want to let him go out
Silver
on
or
that
copper?
note.
Dang, generous man.
A couple copper. You're right. You're right.
Oh,
Like
sorry.
5 copper.
Like $5.
Yeah.
he's still very appreciative. He's thank you so much.
I missed most of the set, but what I did here, I enjoyed. You're getting better, that's for sure.
Psychic damage.
You'll get there someday.
Does he
I
say
actually
that
think
out
I want
loud?
more copper.
Maybe. And then it's time. It is time for Sparkleoneous himself to take the stage. The youths clear their dice game off of the lip of the stage and take it back to a table. They don't stop gambling, but they do give you the entire stage to yourself. And Sparkleoneous comes out and takes the stage. What do you do? How do you
This is what
perform?
happened. This is what happened. So the lanterns that are nearby the stage, those get blown out. And a couple of larger lanterns get brought into the back edge of the stage, torches even, perhaps, so that Sparkleoneous's see-through body can be backlit. It looks very impressive. Sparkleoneous comes in and he's his own light show because he has prestidigitation magic. So he's waving his limbs around, he's swinging his arms around, fireworks are coming out of his little crackles, little bangs, little pops. And Sparkleoneous, he takes the center stage. Everyone's cheering, everyone's applauding. Sparkleoneous, he drops the pot out from his body onto the ground and he takes his seat on it. And he says, "Good evening, everyone. It's me, Sparkleoneous. Welcome to the Sundown Showdown Part 1.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now, I'm going to play some songs about my life. Here's the first one. This one's called I'm Sparkleoneous." And out from Sparkleoneous's chest, well, no, probably not from his chest. I think from his arm. Out from his arm comes a horn. It looks sort of like a French horn in that it has the curl, but it doesn't have like valves or anything like that. It's just a horn. And the horn begins to play, and Sparkleoneous begins his song. And the first song goes a little like this. I'm Sparkleoneous. Yeah, I'm Sparkleoneous. I come here from a place called Muddy. My father only got one eye. My mother makes some damn good chutney. They told me I fell from the sky. That's my surprise. I'm Sparkleoneous. Yeah, Sparkleoneous. And then that's the first song. And Sparkleoneous, there's a big flourish of fireworks around him. He stands up and he's going to pace around the stage for a little bit, do a little crowd work. And that's what the first song is like.
Hun'gui's again in tears.
We have to re-record that before January. I think French horn is on the garage band. So
Lamau.
People
It's
love
probably
it.
closer
I
to
think
trumpet.
I think that's also there.
I think Sparkleoneous. I think the dance vibe for your concerts is sort of like a up down kind of a pogo sort of
It's moshing, but it's all vertical.
Yes.
Are people moshing in the booths? Because isn't it mostly tables and booths?
People
A little
stand on
stage?
their chairs. People get up on the tables.
Oh yeah, no, everyone's bobbing up and down in however they're doing it. Like it's just
Mm-hmm.
yes, such good music.
Wait. Is it good music? Give us a performance check.
That's a good point. We do have to establish that.
With advantage because it was such a good song.
Sure.
You
Yeah.
wrote a song. More than I
He
wrote.
did say chutney.
17 plus 3 plus 2, 22.
We go crazy.
Oh yeah. People lose their gourds over this song. Yeah, people are throwing things. People are excited. Some of the things they throw are even money.
If they
It's
throw
great.
things that are like made of fruit or like anything that's edible to me, I am gonna just sort of like, much like Barson was throwing the carved objects at me, like I am gonna be trying to catch these things in my body.
Are you
Not
like
money.
moving to catch
Contributions.
them,
Money-
or are you
money-
just like?
Money's gonna go in the pot.
Are
Sorry,
you
what?
actively moving to catch the things, or are you just kind of standing there
If they're
accepting
close enough
it?
to where I'm standing, I'm just gonna like I'll put an arm out, or like I'll put a leg out.
Got it.
It's all part of the act. Sparkleoneous is doing crowd work.
Mhm.
You're like, oh hey, how you doing? Where you from? I'm from a farm. Oh, you also work at a farm. Very cool.
Yeah, everyone is so excited. They're like, yeah, Sparkleoneous. He's also from a farm. I'm a farmer. So relatable. I'm a farmer. Throw more bread. And everyone's throwing things, and they're saying, encore, play more. Everyone make perception checks.
Encore. 12. We're getting there.
Dick.
I got a 10.
12.
8. I'm focused
And-
on Minerva.
10, 12, 12, 8.
Yes.
Yep.
Primarily, we are focused on Sparkleoneous and his sparklers and his dissolving of various things that are being thrown at him.
Oh yeah.
Tamagotchi, you're focused on Minerva. Minerva has noticed that Sparkleoneous is appreciative of the non-edible, traditionally, items that are being thrown his way. He's loving like the wooden spoon or the carved whatnot. She has produced a series of dried plants and is sort of weaving them together into a shape, into a something. She really enjoyed this this tune and is still sort of grooving to it, even though the music has stopped. What you don't notice until it is too late
Dang.
is the shape, the large form that slides across the window of the tavern. And your first awareness of this shape is when this full window crashes inwards as the body of the guard from your entrance to the town is flung through it.
Gasp.
What a generous donation.
The Devils gets excited
That's-
because he's got a new one.
And that's where we're gonna call it.
Yep.
Dungeons, Drive-Ins, and Dice, A Wider World is DM'd by Gabe Stringer. This episode features Grace Stringer as Margery Ridgeback, Lawrence Jennings as Sparkleoneous, and myself, M. Williams, as Haribo Tamagotchi. After this episode, Dante will be stepping down from the show. Episode 2 will feature myself, Lawrence, and Grace continuing this adventure before we add in another player in Episode 3. More information about that to come, but this season is definitely kicking off with a bang. We really hope you enjoyed this episode. The next episode, folks, will be out on January 25th. See you then.
Oh yeah.
I'm lying. I don't put people in there. I take them out. Stuff in the holes. I put bricks. I put chairs. And I use the people for things. Like
Okay.
chairs.